Now, remove the bead lifting tool and release the robotic arm. The two most common ways a sensor and valve can be broken are 1. Through direct contact with the bead of the tire as it is moved over the wheel, or 2. Through direct contact with tools or machinery. The mount-demount head guides the upper tire bead up and over the edge of the wheel. Depress the tabletop pedal carefully to jog the wheel clockwise. Start slowly, jogging the wheel a short distance. Check the wheel and tire to verify that this operation is not causing damage. Then, continue using short rotations until the top bead is completely demounted. If you jam up, back out by lifting up the tabletop pedal with your toe, rotating the wheel counterclockwise. At this point, you're ready to demount the lower bead. Use the robotic arm to lift and hold the tire so that the lower bead is positioned in the drop center of the wheel directly across from the mount-demount head. It should be loose below the head. Now, reach in and remove the sensor and valve assembly. Lubricate the lower bead and the wheel. Insert the smooth, curved end of the bead lifting tool over the forward end of the mount-demount head and below the wheel. Move the robotic arm out of the way. Lift the lower bead up and over the knob on the mount-demount head and hold the bar down. Depress the tabletop pedal to jog the wheel. The mount-demount head guides the lower tire bead up and over the edge of the wheel. Replace the bead lifting tool and move the mount-demount head to the side. Remove the tire, completing the demounting process for run-flat tires. Stop the videotape. Go to your workbook and read the section on demounting, which also includes information about strap-tight tire pressure monitoring systems. Complete the appropriate review questions, then restart the videotape. As you've seen, demounting a run-flat tire with a tire pressure monitoring system requires special care. But once you've become accustomed to the process, you'll be able to demount run-flat tires efficiently. We're now ready to cover the procedures for mounting a run-flat tire. Before you begin to mount any tire, make sure the tire bead diameter and the wheel diameter match exactly. Forcing a bead to seat on a mismatched tire and wheel may cause the tire to explode violently, resulting in serious injury and even death. Never mount a damaged tire or mount a tire on a damaged wheel. If you damage the tire bead during the mounting process, immediately remove it from service. The first step in the mounting process is to clean the wheel of any residue. Do not attempt to service heavily corroded wheels. Liberally lubricate the tire beads with the tire manufacturer's approved lubricant. Because of their stiffer sidewalls, run-flat tires normally require more lubrication than standard passenger tires. If the tire is directional, check to ensure that you're mounting the tire in the right direction based on its wheel position. Make sure the valve stem hole is at 90 degrees in front of the mount-demount head. Place the tire over the wheel. Move the mount-demount head into position. Position the tire so that the lower bead is above the rear extension of the mount-demount head and below the front knob. Depress the tabletop pedal to rotate the wheel clockwise. Rotate the wheel until the lower bead is fully mounted. Mounting the top bead can be difficult when mounting new run-flat tires on performance and custom wheels. Proceed slowly and cautiously. To mount the top bead, rotate the wheel. Make sure the valve stem hole is at 90 degrees in front of the mount-demount head. Use the robotic arm to press down on the tire between the mount-demount head and the valve stem hole to hold the tire in the drop center of the wheel. Depress the tabletop pedal and slowly jog the tire to ensure you maintain the bead of the tire in the drop center of the wheel until it's mounted. Never force the tire onto the wheel. If the tabletop stalls, reverse the direction until the bead is loose again. Re-lubricate and reposition the tire on the mount-demount head. Make sure the bead is correctly positioned in the drop center of the wheel and begin the process again. Then use the robotic arm to help to replace the sensor and valve combination. Start by replacing the O-ring. Use the robotic arm to press down on the sidewall so you can install the sensor and valve. Use an inch-pound torque wrench to tighten the hex ferrule to manufacturer's specs. Note that torque specifications will vary among manufacturers and system types. As mentioned, the valve stem is the antenna. Do not replace the valve or the cap with standard parts. If you do, the system will not operate properly. With the sensor and valve in place, release the robotic arm out of the way and insert the valve core. Occasionally, the claws will get stuck between the bead and the wheel. If this happens, use the shoe boot to loosen the claws. To ensure proper match mounting, be sure to line up the valve and tire match mounting mark before inflating the tire. Tire inflation is performed in 3 steps: bead seal, bead seat, and inflation. Release the clamps, lift the tire, and move the clamps to the center of the tabletop. When bead sealing tires with diameters larger than 14 inches, you'll need to move the clamps to the center. Connect the inflation hose. Hold the tire up against the upper edge of the wheel and make sure the tire's top bead is over the bottom of the valve stem assembly. Briefly depress the inflation pedal to position 2, then depress the inflation pedal to position 3 and hold for less than a second. The sudden blast of air expands the tire and seals the beads. Release the inflation pedal and allow it to return to position 1. To avoid injury, keep your fingers away from the bead seating area and never increase the tire air pressure to more than 40 psi. Continue to inject air into the tire in short intervals, checking the pressure frequently. Tire beads should pop into their bead seat position as pressure increases. If this does not happen, something is wrong. Deflate the tire completely and inspect for problems. Verify that both beads are completely sealed to the wheel. If the beads have not sealed, repeat this operation. If you cannot achieve a seal after 4 attempts, the valve core may need to be removed from the valve stem to allow more air to flow into the tire. If you had to remove the valve core, replace it. Now begin the final stage of inflation. Depress the inflation pedal to position 2 to inflate the tire. Never exceed the tire manufacturer's recommended air pressure. If inflated beyond these limits, tires can explode, causing serious injury or death to the operator or bystanders. Frequently check the tire pressure to avoid overinflation. While the tire is being inflated, keep hands, arms, and your entire body back from the tire and avoid distractions. This is serious business. Once the desired air pressure is reached, install the original valve cap. Your tire and wheel assembly is now ready to be balanced and installed on the vehicle. Remember, if you have directional tires or position-sensitive sensor and valves, you'll need to make sure you have the right tires in the right places. Demounting, mounting, and inflating run-flat tires requires more care and attention than do conventional tire and wheel combinations. Without proper handling, the sensor and valve can be easily damaged. Of course, damaged wheels or tires are always a concern. When properly installed, run-flat tires and the required tire pressure monitoring systems provide reliable and convenient performance.